Sony has an extensive range of cinema cameras which cater to professional cinematographers, DOPs, or even producers. Its Cine lineup is widely used in big budget projects all around the world. The Sony FX30 is the company's most affordable cinema line camera. Hey everyone, my name is Ishan, this is Gadgets 360 and I got to use Sony FX30 Cine camera for an entire month. And in this video, I'll tell you what I think about it. So let's get started. Sony FX30 looks exactly like the FX3 from the cinema line, with flat edges and a magnesium alloy body with a matte finished grey color. The FX30 looks and feels quite premium. Sony FX30 is the most affordable in the cinema line of cameras, but it is still priced at Rs 1,79,990 for just the body, which is quite a bit. This interchangeable lens camera sports an APS-C sensor and weighs 646 grams with the battery and memory card installed, and 562 grams for just the body. The camera is not weather sealed but is designed to be operated in temperatures from 0 degrees Celsius to 40 degrees Celsius. Ergonomically, the camera does feel a little uncomfortable to hold, especially if you're going to use it handheld for more extended periods. You can use a provided XLR handle, but I personally prefer using the camera alone. At the front, we have the Sony branding, a customizable record button, a lens release button, an LED indicator and a selector dial. It does have an HDMI port, Type-C charging port, headphone input and a microphone jack. The Sony FX30 has all the necessary buttons at the back, including the menu, mode, navigation buttons, navigation dial, function button, delete button, and 2 customizable buttons. There's also a sleek indicator LED that turns red as you start recording on this camera. The FX30 can accommodate 2 CF Express Type A or SD cards and can record simultaneously on both of them. The Sony FX30 sports a 3-inch touchscreen LCD which can rotate up to 270 degrees. It is helpful when you're vlogging. The touch input is quite responsive too. There's also a hot shoe mount on the top of this camera to connect accessories. The camera uses Sony's E-mount for lenses. The Sony FX30 features a 20.1 megapixel Eximor R sensor. The camera can record videos at up to 4K 120 fps and in XAVC S1 4K 60 fps at a 600 Mbps bitrate in 422 10-bit format. This in itself is pretty impressive, considering I did not notice any overheating despite shooting an entire 30-minute long video in this format. The FX30 can record time-lapse videos directly in 4K, and one can record raw videos at up to a 4672 by 2628 resolution in 16-bit using an external recorder. This is a cinema camera primarily, but it can shoot decent stills as well. I tried shooting a stop-motion video using this camera with the high frame rate option enabled, but my Sony a6000, which costs almost 1/4 of this camera, outperformed it. The FX30 can shoot stills at 26 megapixels in JPEG, HEIF and Sony's ARW RAW format. The FX30 does come equipped with a 5-axis stabilization, which in my opinion is quite good, especially if you're shooting without a gimbal and in a guerilla setup like I did. It offers good stability with handheld shots like this one. The Sony FX30 borrows some of the features from its elder siblings, including the S-Cinetone picture profile, which eliminates the need for color correction and delivers an image that can be put on an edit timeline immediately, at least on paper. I felt it was quite good for some scenes with good lighting, but as you enter a low light environment, you start seeing some discoloration. If shooting in low light is a priority, I would suggest the A7S3 instead. The FX30 can also record in S-Log3, which gives a lot of control to the video editor to play with saturation, highlights and shadows. The Sony FX30 has an impressive ISO range of 100 to 32,000 for movies and stills, which can be expanded to 50 to 1,24,400. I did try to shoot a scene in the pitch dark, where only after ISO 12800 I was able to see the trees in the scene. But once it reaches the upper ISO limit, the footage is barely usable. I found 6400 to be the maximum usable ISO for this camera. I shot a video with this camera in a studio with just one light to create a silhouette for the subject, and the footage turned out to be perfectly sharp and very noisy. This is not an A7S III, but it can give you good results given enough light in the scene. The fast hybrid autofocus, which is a combination of phase detection autofocus and contrast detection autofocus, works quite well. The camera has 496 focus points for movies and 759 for stills. Phase detection works flawlessly even in dark scenes. Continuous tracking also does a great job at keeping the subject in focus all the time, like in this shot where I had the smartphone in hand and was moving continuously. 4K videos straight out of this camera have plenty of details and true-to-life colors. When it comes to stills, the camera delivered quite good results with great details in the shadows, highlights, and a good dynamic range, with the Sony color scheme that many might be familiar with. The Sony FX30 uses the NP FZ100 battery, and the brand claims that it can last for 175 minutes if you shoot continuously. But in my experience, the battery did not last that long. I used the camera for everything all at once, be it recording video in the highest possible format, shooting a stop motion video using the burst mode, and shooting a bunch of stills in different scenarios. The USB Type-C charging port is useful if you're on the go and cannot find a plug. This camera can also be powered by a power bank. The FX30 has a host of other features including dual-band Wi-Fi support, Bluetooth 5.0 to transfer files, and remote shooting. The Sony FX30 is an impressive product for guerrilla filmmakers who need features like S-Cinetone and S-Log3 with continuous 4K video recording capabilities. Still, considering it is a cinema line camera, it does lack some features that a hybrid shooter would like. If you need the best of both worlds for movies and stills, I would recommend you go with an Alpha series camera. But if you are somebody who needs the Cineline features such as 4K 120fps XAVC S1 video recording, the FX30 is one of the best options at this price. Do let us know what you think of the Sony FX30 cinema line camera in the comments. That's it for this video. See you guys in the next one. Until then, keep following Gadgets 360 for all things tech.